Hi, I'm Holly. I'm the mom.
I'm Sydney, I'm the daughter, and today we're going to be talking about The Sins of Our Mother, now on Netflix. So the doc opens up with Colby Ryan, and he's basically talking about his mom, Lori, and he is talking about, how police have come to his door. They're looking for these two kids, Tylee and JJ, which, you know, all of this comes up later, so we are going to touch back on that. But Colby also talks about his mom, basically how she got super deep into her beliefs and how she was deeper and deeper into fantasy land and that she kind of lost herself in, I want to say religion, but I think this goes beyond religion.
For sure. Like it starts out, I think, religious based and then it gets
Cultish.
cultish. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We basically find out that Lori has a few unsuccessful marriages. We find out that she is a part of the LDS, she's a part of LDS, which, if I'm not wrong, LDS, divorce is very looked down upon, right?
I'm not that up on LDS or really most religion. But I think so.
They first start talking about how Lori was married straight out of high school. That marriage did not last. Um, she had her son Colby at 22 with a man named William, who was now her second husband. And then that marriage did not last either. So then we see the third marriage, Joe Ryan. And this is the man who, in the beginning, Colby remembered him being super sweet. He was a great guy. And, obviously, this guy, Joe Ryan, Colby Ryan, I'm going to assume somewhere along the way, Colby took his last name.
Right. Or maybe he adopted
Or maybe he
him.
adopted him.
Right.
Then Lori and Joe had Tylee, who was their daughter. While she was married to Joe, she was talking to her sister-in-law, Annie Cushing, and she had told Annie that God had spoken to her and told her she would be on the Wheel of Fortune, which, I mean, yeah, then she was on the Wheel of Fortune, but I'm pretty sure it's a whole process of like applying and
I think Wheel of Fortune, you actually just show up at the studio and they give you a tag with your name on it and they take your info and then they randomly do call people from the audience. I'm pretty sure that's how Wheel of
hey,
Fortune works.
so maybe God did tell her, and he
You
was he
know,
was right. Maybe.
God's ignoring the starving child to let Lori know she's going to be on the Wheel of
Yes,
Fortune.
exactly. Colby doesn't state exactly how long it had been, but as he got older, Joe Ryan started to physically and sexually abuse him, and eventually that that had forced Lori to take Colby and Tylee and just move them away. Obviously, at some point, she gets a divorce from Joe. Never really exactly states when, but she takes Colby and Tylee and just gets out of there.
Right.
Does not want to put up with the abuse anymore. So now we're on to Lori's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and everybody loved Charles. Both of Colby and Tylee. Lori was obviously smitten with him. He actually quit drinking and he joined the LDS Church with Lori. He had two sons of his own, so they had a blended family, and then they also adopted JJ Joshua Vallow in 2013 together. So now altogether they've got these five kids. So Charles actually has a sister named Kay Woodcock, and JJ is actually her biological grandson. She had a son that was unable to take care of JJ after he was born, but with Kay and her husband Larry being an older couple, they just did not have the time or the energy or the resources to take care of a baby. So she asked if Charles and Lori would take JJ, and they did. They happily adopted him. And JJ had turned out to have had autism, and all the kids thought, oh, we're going to have to be careful around him, or we're going to have to treat him differently. And he kind of brought out the best in all the kids. He bonded with everyone really well. Tylee loved JJ, like that was her baby. He kind of taught all the older kids, like, it's okay to be you.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was just so, I mean, we know from Bubs, he's so authentically himself. And that's just what autism is like, you're not ashamed to be you.
Right.
As the years go on, you know, all the kids are getting older, the LDS church starts to become a bigger topic in the Vallow household. And Lori's actually caught on a voice recording saying that an angel came down and kissed her on the cheek or the forehead and said something about moving to Hawaii. And so they did. They packed everything up and the Vallow household moved to Hawaii.
I'm going to have to use that line because I would like to move to Hawaii.
An angel came down, kissed me on the lips.
That's what I'm going to tell James. An angel told me that we have to move to Jamaica tomorrow.
Yeah. We need to pack everything up quick and then we need to go.
Because Jamaica's my Hawaii.
Yeah. We meet April Raymond, who is a former friend of Lori's. And she's talking about, you know, they met after she moved to Hawaii. And they are a part of the same LDS church. They're in the same community. And she says that Lori starts complaining about Charles. Basically how he's not on the same spiritual level as her. And that she just doesn't see him the same anymore. And it's like, again, there's no certain timeline, so you don't really know how far long after. But it's like, this man just moved you and your kids to Hawaii. Like, maybe you're just, I don't know, like, to me, maybe, like, think about it. Just think about it for a little bit before you start jumping to anything. And then she claims to April that she had a personal encounter with the angel Moroni and that she communicated regularly with him. So here's another entity that she is just chatting up. They are buddies.
Well, I mean, the whole angel kiss me, we have to move.
That was already
to me. To me, that would be the signal that we need to get out of the church because things are taking a turn for the worse.
Yes. And she's also, I mean, there's a lot of voice audios through this that, like, I didn't quote a lot of them. I would rather them just be heard by the viewer if they're going to watch this. But just all of the shit that she says in all of these audio clips, from the way she words things, you can just see the downhill slope.
Right.
Everyone in the Vallow household, except for Colby, I'm not sure if Colby stayed in Hawaii or if he went somewhere else. He never clarified. But all of the Vallows, except for him, moved back to Arizona. And he eventually moves back, and the only reason he does is because he meets his then girlfriend, Kelsey. And then he starts going to, you know, a Christian church with Kelsey because, you know, he's starting his own life.
Right.
And Lori confronts them and says that she feels as though he's being taken away from his LDS lifestyle. And he's like, well, Mom, I'm starting my own life. You know, maybe I don't want to be a part of LDS. He didn't say that, but, you know, it's very likely. People grow up and they have their own religious freedom now.
Right.
And Lori was not the ideal, you know, mother-in-law to Kelsey. She literally told Kelsey once, she said, Jesus loves you, but he loves me most. You are weird.
Very weird.
That is so strange to say to a young adult when you are, like, well beyond your years.
Well, but I mean,
like
she's
that.
already talking about, you know, basically how Jesus loves her more than Charles, her husband. Like, you know, saying those weird things to her friends by saying
Yes.
they're not on the same spiritual plane or spiritual level or whatever.
Yeah.
She was already gearing up for her being the next Messiah long
yeah.
before anyone saw it coming.
Eventually, Colby and Kelsey end up getting married, and they realize Tylee is not there. His younger sister, she's not there. She's on a ski trip. And he's so upset because he doesn't have any wedding photos with Tylee there. But I just am so, like, that's so odd to me. Because Tylee and Colby were close growing up.
Right.
You know, all they had was each other. So for her to not be there felt like that was something put on by Lori. Like, it's never talked about again. It's just, It's this brief moment that they talk about Tylee not being there, not being in wedding photos. But I just want to know, why was she on that ski trip?
Well, not only do I want to know why, but I also, as a mom, I would, if you don't have any siblings that are mine, but if you did, I would 100% be like, you're going to this wedding. That's
Yeah.
not it's not optional.
Yeah, exactly.
As a parent, that is your job to make sure your kids show up for the important things, even if they have things that seem cooler that they'd rather go do.
Yeah.
And your brother's wedding is an important thing.
Mm-hmm. After the wedding, Colby talks about how Lori starts stocking up on items. She's stocking up on food. She's stocking up on paper supplies like toilet paper, paper towels. And she keeps talking about and acting like the end is near. Because it was something about, what was it, July 2020 that the world was supposed to end
Yeah,
or some
I can't
shit.
remember the exact date, but to me, doomsday preppers are like the scariest of the religious. Some of them aren't religious, but I feel like most of them are religious.
Yeah.
And it's usually the freaky religions like LDS, and I'm not going to insult a bunch of people by going into all the other ones that I think are freaky, but I feel like there are definitely some that are more cultish than others.
Oh, definitely. I guess Lori kept in contact with Annie Cushing, which was Joe Ryan's sister. So now her ex-sister-in-law. And she, I guess at one point told Annie, like, it would be less scary to just pack the kids up in the car and drive up a cliff. Like, that's insane
Right.
to say.
And I guess what bothers me the most is nobody seemed like they should let anyone know that Lori was going through this and having these thoughts.
Yeah.
Because she's certainly not the first parent that thought the end of the world was coming and killed her whole family.
Exactly.
So we know that it can happen. And, there have been many cases where families have been completely annihilated because someone thought the end was near and they thought it would be easier to just, kill them while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, this would be alarm bells for me. I would be calling CPS if you came to me and told me something like this. Like, I probably shouldn't tell you because that way you would never tell me if you were having these thoughts.
But the thing is that, like, and it's so hard to say because, like, obviously you or I have never been through this. God forbid we ever do. But the religious psychosis that people go through. Because, I feel like that's what it is the psychosis of, well, I don't want us to suffer in any sort of way, so I'm just going to kill us all now. If the world is going to end, you might as well just let it happen. Like,
well, think of how many times we've lived through the supposed end. There's no way I would preemptively kill my family on the off chance that this was the time it was actually going to happen.
exactly.
Be like, if it's coming, I guess we're all doomed. But
Well, and the thing is that, like, let's take, for example, this most recent rapture that we had. The thing about that is that people, I don't know why people are putting dates on it, why they're putting dates on the end of the world or the rapture, because you won't know. You're not going to know when it's happening. Like, if you constantly live in the fear that the world is going to end, yeah, maybe someday it will, but it could be 2 weeks from now. It could be 50 years from now. You will never know. So you might as well just keep living day by day.
right.
And if it happens, then we all die. Oh, well, we're all gone.
Well, with the rapture, though, they believe that souls that are worthy of heaven are going to be, and I'll use my term from the TV show Ghosts, sucked off. That's what they call it when you get pulled into
You're
heaven.
getting sucked off.
You get sucked off. And so that they believe that that's what's going to happen, and anyone left behind is going to basically, be living in a hell on earth, which to me as a atheist, this is the hell.
I was gonna
If
say,
there is something after this world, it's surely got to be better than what we're living through now.
it has to be better than the 9 to 5. Alex starts coming around more. This is Lori's brother. And the way that this is kind of worded is like weird, but basically, like, I guess they were listening to a podcast together, and the podcast belonged to this woman, Melanie Gibb. But then all of a sudden, Lori is a part of the podcast with Melanie. Like, and they don't ever make much clarity of, like, when did she go from a listener to a co-host?
Right, like when that came about. Like,
yeah. And, obviously this is a religious podcast and they're trying to reach out to people with the message of God. Everyone that was a part of Lori's life that wasn't really involved in LDS, they felt like things were kind of off. They were just a little strange, but they were also happy because it seemed like she was making some friends, which, she had surrounded herself with her children for so long that making friends wasn't really, in her narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is, and it seems like a good thing for her, but no one really knows what these friends entail. Through all of these friends that Lori was making, she actually went to this like book reading, and then the author was, sitting and answering questions, signing books for people. And this author turned out to be Chad Daybell. And so this is where we first meet Chad.
Who is equally fucking crazy.
Who is equally as insane as he's on her spiritual level for sure. And literally when they first meet, he tells her that they have been married in multiple lifetimes before. And not in this earth life, they say, but in all the other past lifetimes they've lived, they've been married in all of them. And this is kind of what they base and build their whole relationship off of, is that they have found each other in every single lifetime.
And Chad, to me, screams guy who was not popular in school and, didn't have a lot of friends, didn't get the girls.
Yep.
And, he's overweight. He's average looking, and probably also did not have great self-esteem. And he sees this beautiful woman, because Lori is a very pretty woman.
Yeah.
And immediately, I guarantee that she was not the first person he told that to.
Oh, yeah.
That, they were married in past lives. She just happened to be the one that believed it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a feeling, him being an author and, and people coming to book signings, that was not the first time he had used that line.
Oh, 100%. So they get each other's numbers and they start texting. And Chad is just, this guy's such a fucking weirdo. I'm going to read it from the screenshots. A voice said to me, "You will meet an extraordinary woman today who will change your life forever." Was it Maroney, the same angel that talked to Lori before? In quotes, again, this must be the voice talking to him. But it also feels like it's from a book. When their hands touched, he felt a shock pass through him and his heart started beating fast. The feelings were strong, as if they had known each other oh so long. Is this a poem? Why are you writing it in third person? Like, I don't understand this whole fucking, like, this guy's a freak too.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know what? You're made for each other. You are.
Well, it's, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, he is full of delusion. And when you have Lori, who's already walked right up to the edge of the precipice, this is just a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's looking for, because that's what she couldn't find in Charles. That's what she was struggling to find in Charles, is someone who met her on her spirit, on her insanity, on her spirituality, really. And like, because she was so up here about it. Like you said, she wanted to be the next Messiah. She's the prophecy,
Right.
We meet Benjamin Hyde, and he and Chad were missionaries about 30 years ago. And they had served this certain mission together, and after it, Chad went cliff diving. And then he claims that this is his first near-death experience. I don't know about any others. They don't really talk about
Right.
his other ones, but this is the first.
I feel like if you say it's been your first, then there's been more, but
Yeah. And so this is where he suddenly believes he can look beyond the veil and bring visions from the future. Like, basically, that he's a fortune teller. That's what he said. He's a fortune teller. And that he feels as though this has given him the power of the prophet. And
which is crazy to me because in the LDS religion, the order of who is most important is it's very important to them, and to have someone just walk into a church and be like, I am a prophet,
yes.
doesn't seem like they would be that accepting to me, because they are very much like the church decides who is the prophet and
Mhm.
who is below that, and the order of who, like I said, the most important to just the regular congregation.
Mhm.
And it's so weird to me that you have this guy who's decided that he is a prophet and the church just accepts that.
I know. Kind of everyone just suddenly goes along with it.
Right.
And then they feed into his delusions for, I mean, obviously, like I said before, this was 30 years ago that his near-death experience. So 30 years, you're telling me all of you are just letting him run amok
Right.
like that?
Right.
After this near-death experience, he also meets his wife, Tammy, and together they have 5 children. And after it doesn't really say if it's after all their children are born or whenever, but he also starts writing these books, and he also creates a publishing company. So, he's kind of got a life set up for him and his family. It's just a fucking wackadoo.
Right. What's crazy to me is like some of the
Wow.
the things that I've read from the books, like most people would just view it as fantasy, like that would be the genre.
Hmm.
But these are things he apparently believed. And I guess that works in your favor when you're writing what is essentially science fiction fantasy,
Yeah.
that normal people view it as a genre, whereas you're like, these are real.
Yeah.
And that was Chad.
Yeah. No, literally.
Such a Chad.
He's such a Chad. Well, and also, he apparently had a vision about the apocalypse and that there would only be 144,000 people that would be saved. And then they would have to carry on the work of God. And I'm like, 144,000? Like, that's so specific.
Right.
But of course, he sees the visions, so he can be specific.
I think my biggest issue with not just religion, but people of this nature is they're always trying to find something that's telling them they're important, they're special.
Yes.
And Chad and Lori were those people, were those types of people that were always looking for something to differentiate themselves from the regular population.
Yep. Well, and then Chad also claimed Rexburg, Idaho to be the new Jerusalem. Are you okay, pal? It's Idaho, buddy. Like, yeah, I just don't understand where it has to be some sort of insanity. There has to be something psychologically behind it, because there is no fucking way that people just accept themselves being like this. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. And I don't get how there wasn't earlier intervention, and how Tammy was married to that man for 30 years.
I mean, she could have also been a little crazy.
She could have been. We don't really hear much about her as far as her personality and stuff like that.
Right. The thing to me, like, so I have anxiety to the point where I'm medicated for it. And when I'm not taking my medications as regularly as I should, even I can look at something that I'm feeling anxious about and say, this is you're being unrealistic. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Like this is not, there is not that thing you see in the sky is not a meteor that's coming towards the earth. It's just another planet or a very bright star. It's not a meteor, I promise you. Like, I can say to myself, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah.
How does someone not do that in this situation, that they just convince themselves that all of this is real, and they don't have the, the brain function to be like, actually, I think I'm being a little crazy here.
No, literally, like, how is there no self-reflection?
Right.
Like, you just, like, they literally just get on the roller coaster and then they just never get off.
Well, not, I mean, if you have a mental illness, that's one thing. But I don't think this is mental illness. I think it is the need and desire to be important, to be popular, to feel like you have a higher purpose. And I think when, yes, we've joked and said they're crazy and use the word insanity, but I really think that that's doing a disservice to people with actual mental illnesses, because that's something that can't be controlled. This could have.
Yeah.
They chose not to.
Yeah. After Lori and Chad meet, she actually starts to read his books a little bit more. And basically everything that he has written, she's into it. She is on the exact same level as him. Like, and they both just kind of had this belief that everything that Chad has written is scripture. And that basically that he's written the new Bible.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? And
they're both, yeah.
Yeah. And so Lori brings Chad onto her podcast, and then this fucking cracked me up. They start talking about Jesus, about, like, I can't even remember exactly what it was, but they're basically talking as if Jesus is one of their pals. Like, they're like, oh yeah, and then Jesus did this. And it's like, no,
we went to the
didn't.
movies together.
We actually went and saw Five Nights at Freddy 2, and Jesus got jump scared.
He threw his popcorn everywhere.
He literally
He likes
screamed.
extra butter. And that's the thing to me, is it feels very forced and very like, I know I'm making this up and I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest thing with the both of them is, the whole angel kissed me and we moved to Hawaii. You're fucking lying. It's not real.
Yes.
That's the difference between actual mental illness and what's happening here. People with mental illness do not know that these things aren't real.
Yes.
They fucking knew these weren't real, and they made it up, and then they just fed into each other's weird fucking fantasies to make shit up. And it just, yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're exactly right. Like, when you're actually mentally ill, it's not linear. The whole what's real and isn't real, it's all gray.
Well, and when you're having psychosis, and then you get back on your meds and you get some clarity, because I worked in a mental health hospital for 7 years, and we had patients that, as they're getting back on their medications and they're clearing, they remember the things that they saw or they did, or, just things that they thought were happening. And they can say, yikes, that wasn't real.
Yeah.
Or, I can't believe I did that. And that was one thing that I always felt so bad for them, was some of them that would do things that were so out of character for them when they were clear, to look back and be like, I'm horrified that I did that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's not you. And
Right.
it's not you. You just need the clarity to see it.
Right. But, to have the clarity to also remember that you did it and you're horrified that you did it.
Yeah.
That was what always broke my heart for some of these patients.
So Lori starts talking to her friend April again, and she's talking about Charles. She says Charles has a demon in him. And the demon's name is Ned. I have heard a lot of demon names.
Right.
And none of them have been just like some white dude name.
Right.
His name is Ned. Ned. And so then she starts, after she claims this whole demon named Ned, she starts acting completely different towards Charles. She starts telling Colby that Charles is cheating on her all the time. and she is acting crazy to Charles, which Charles then starts reaching out to like Colby and other people that he can, and he's trying to tell people like Lori is fucking crazy. Lori is acting insane, and nobody will believe him.
Right, because they think, okay, well, he really is cheating.
Yeah,
and
he
he's
got
just
caught.
he's trying to paint her as the bad guy. And, well, because it's true, though. Think about how many spouses that cheat, the first thing they do when they're confronted is call the other spouse crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what people think is happening here. They think, well, he's just trying to say she's crazy to gaslight her.
Yeah.
Because he's cheating.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where Charles was at this time, but he was going to have a flight home to Arizona. Lori actually goes and cancels that flight for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah, I think he was on business. I think he had to travel a lot for work.
And then she has her brother Alex go to the airport garage and pick up Charles's Jeep. And so basically, once he finds a way to get back to Arizona, then he's got to find a way to get back home.
Which I still don't understand what the end game was for that move. Like,
Yeah.
did you think he was just going to be stuck in whatever state he was in and never return to Arizona? I wish there were more answers about why she did it,
I
what
know.
she thought was going to happen.
Like, do you know how plane tickets work?
Right.
You can just buy another one.
Right. Or transportation, period. There's trains, there's buses, there's rental cars. You're not just...
You're not
because
just gonna
this
get out.
flight was canceled, you don't just be like, okay, I live here now.
Yeah. Like, he's like, shucks.
Right? But here's the beginning of Lori sucking Alex in to her delusions.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know if at that time Alex just thought that the cheating was real or if he was really getting into the religious part of it yet.
Yeah, it's hard to say because eventually he does get into the religious part, but it's so hard to know like what part of the scale he's on at this
Right.
point. But he does go over to the Vallow home and he literally goes in and he's just Lori's like task man through this whole thing, getting the car or whatever. And then he takes all of Charles's shit out of the house. So Charles eventually gets back because he's not a fucking moron. He knows how to get back home.
Right.
And he has to call the police. And, you know, he's telling them that, you know, she did this. She's acting insane. She's basically saying she is God. She was saying she was going to kill him. And she literally said this to him because he's not Charles.
Right. He's Ned.
Yeah, he's Ned. And so she goes to the police. Not sure if it's the same night or the next day, but she goes to the police to report Charles. And I'm just like, what do you have to report? And then she told the police about the fact that she canceled his flight. She told the police that Alex took his Jeep. She told the police that they took all of his stuff out of the house. And she's just the whole time. And they're feeding into it.
That's what killed me. She's saying these things, but because she's acting like a normal person, she's saying crazy shit.
Yes.
But she's acting like a normal person who this is just, you know, things that are happening in a marriage. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, she's like, he's probably a little mad at me right now.
Yeah, and she's laughing and she is being charismatic
And
through
they're
the whole
laughing
thing.
too.
Yeah, I was really just like, so you guys are just listening to the tone and not what she's actually saying because this
Yes.
isn't normal behavior.
Yes, exactly.
And like I said, maybe this is because she was a pretty lady and they have no, and, you know, they're middle class family. They have no reason to believe that she is suffering from any sort of delusions.
Yeah. But the police officer that's with her does tell her that, you know, police are going to come soon and request, because of what the report that Charles made, that they're going to come and request for her to go and get a psych evaluation. And he literally says to her, if you don't want to do it, just don't answer the door. Just talk through the door if you don't want to do it. So you're basically telling her how to just get out of it because you think that she is... You're not a mental health person.
Right.
You're a police officer. You don't get to make that call.
I feel like so many of these documentaries that we've watched and that we've talked about over and over, there are warning signs that everybody fucking ignores.
Yes.
And again, I don't know if that is because we see it because hindsight is 2020 or because we're just so I feel like people in the community of, that love crime documentaries and true life crime, I think we just automatically assume the worst.
Yeah.
So when we see anything that's a little bit off, we're like, that person is somebody needs to do something because it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And I don't know if it, like I said, for us, I don't know if it's because we're so into true crime that we just automatically think the worst, or because looking back, you can say, oh, well, all the signs were there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely feel like maybe we're just a little bit smarter than the average person when it comes to the signs. Not us in particular, but people in the community, the crime junkie community, that they're like, oh no, I've seen this before. I know what's happening. I know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
And you're, trying to ring all the alarms. I mean, The Perfect Neighbor. We knew, you had to have known where that was going to fucking go.
Oh, yeah.
It
And
was
the fact
escalating.
that there was no other intervention besides just cops coming and telling her, oh, well, this and that. Like, take her to a fucking psych place.
Right.
Clearly she's insane. Clearly she was.
Well, in 77 minutes. How many, in the 48 hours before that massacre, how many times could have someone intervened, whether it was his wife or the psychiatric hotline? I mean, he was standing in front of a judge the day before.
Yeah.
Or the morning of.
The morning of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and also abducted in plain sight.
Yeah.
Another scenario.
Oh my God. I mean, still to this day, the craziest shit ever that I've ever seen in any documentary, in any true crime story.
Yeah.
This man abducted your kid and then he does it again.
And then you just let him do it again.
I mean,
after the police officer told her, just don't answer the door, she actually did go and get a psych eval on her own. Like she did it. And she wasn't committed to the facility.
And this is why I think what she's saying is she knows that it's not true.
Yeah.
Because people that are having actual delusions don't know that they're delusions. And people that are manipulative and trying to force a narrative know exactly what to say during a psych eval to not set off any alarms.
Yep. So we start seeing some text between Charles Vallow and Adam Cox, which Adam is the oldest sibling between Adam, Alex, and Lori. And so he's the only one who will talk to Charles.
Right.
All of her other family members, they have this narrative that he's cheating and accusing her of being crazy because he got caught, which obviously is not true. But Adam will still talk to him. Adam also says that Lori won't talk to him because she believes that he believes she is crazy, which you are fucking crazy, bitch. Right. And so Charles texts Adam and he's like, I need to send this email to you. This is insane. I just found this. And it is a email from Charles to Chad Daybell. And it's basically asking Chad to be a ghostwriter. But then in it, it's also telling Chad days that he's like going to be away for business, and just very like there's definitely a cryptic message behind it. And eventually, Adam and Charles, they're kind of conspiring of like what this could be. And it's basically, I think their best guess was that this was so that she could email Chad and that his wife wouldn't find out. And yeah, I think it was a whole secret thing.
Oh yeah, because of course Tammy's not going to question why a another man is emailing her husband. But
Exactly.
she certainly would if some random woman was.
Yep.
And again, like you said, with it saying what days he's gone on business, those are times they could be together.
Exactly. So after Adam reads the email, basically he's like, we need to hire a PI. We need to hire a private investigator so that we can get someone to get photos of them together.
But then they don't really talk about the PI again.
No, they don't talk about the PI. They don't get any photos of them together.
So I don't know if they actually even hired one.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think that they just spoke about it.
Mm.
And then at one point, actually, Charles said she's having an affair with him. She sends an email using my name so it looks like he can go to AZ, Arizona, and his wife won't think it's suspicious, which totally viable. Because, I mean, if Charles is requesting a ghostwriter, Chad has to come to him.
Right.
Charles isn't going to go to him. So, yeah, I think they were right on the money about the whole not wanting his wife to know.
Right.
And Charles says that he's going to tell Tammy. He's going to go and confront Chad's wife. But for some reason, he tells Lori that he's going to tell Tammy. I understand telling her out of the pettiness and the anger, but he shouldn't have told her.
No.
Don't ever tell people
that you're going to blow their shit up.
Exactly. Because the thing about it is that when people who know how to manipulate out of one thing, they know how to manipulate out of many things.
Well, but also desperate people do desperate things.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, though. Charles was already marked for death. They had been, talking about him being a zombie or a demon calling him Ned for a while now.
Yeah.
And I think that was to dehumanize him so that when they were ready to, to dispose of him, they could.
Yeah. Adam tells Charles that he has asked his mom to have a family meeting. And Charles is like, I will not be there, which I'm like, yeah, of course you wouldn't.
Right.
This is between the Cox family, not you, Charles. We see text messages between Lori and Alex, and she's telling Alex, I need you to stay close to me. They're planning some sort of intervention, which just leads me to believe that their mom went from Adam telling her to her telling Lori.
Right.
Like, I don't know what it is, because Janice is, like, obsessed with Lori. And you have 3 other children, and you're obsessed with the one that's fucking psycho? Like, do you want to fix her or something? No, she doesn't. She just wants to, I don't even know. I just didn't understand Janice Cox this entire time.
Well, I think it's the fact that Lori is so pretty. I think Janice was trying to live vicariously through Lori.
Probably.
Because just looking at Janice now, she strikes me as the type who really values looks over anything.
Yeah. And then Lori says to Alex, apparently it is tied to Ned, Charles Demon. And she goes, hopefully today or tomorrow? ? What do you mean, hopefully today or tomorrow? Because she's not talking about the intervention.
Right.
And then Alex texts her back and says, have fun and get rid of Ned already. What are you guys talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about? That's fucking weird. Charles texts Adam at about 7:30 in the morning. He's going over to Lori's house to pick up JJ to bring him to school. And he texts Adam. He says, Alex is here at Lori's house. Their house, but Charles isn't really allowed to be there now. And then we get into the 911 call that Alex is making to the police. And, they're asking, do you need an ambulance or police? And he says both. And then he says that he shot his brother-in-law. And I'm just like, how did we get here?
Right.
I don't understand how Charles went from picking up his son to getting fucking shot.
I mean, we definitely saw it coming.
Oh, yeah. Alex is on the phone with 911, and the operator she says, okay, I'm going to have you start CPR on him. And he goes, no, I don't know how to do that. And she goes, that's okay. I can walk you through it. And she's saying all the steps on how to do CPR. And you can clearly hear over the phone, he's not doing jack shit. He's probably just standing there looking at Charles on the ground.
Right. Well, and you can tell too when the police do show up on the body cam, Alex has no blood on him.
Yeah.
So he clearly was not trying to do CPR.
Yeah, he was not giving any sort of medical attention. Like, it was their plan for Charles to die.
For sure. When the police get there, Lori's not even there.
Yeah.
Lori had taken JJ and Tylee to school, and when she came back and the police were asking her what happened, she was laughing again. And she's like, hi, neighbors. We just moved in. I'm sure they're wondering what we're doing.
Yeah.
And she's not bothered in the least to find out that Charles is dead.
Yeah. So then they go to the police station and everybody's rounded up. It's Tylee. I don't believe they interviewed JJ because I don't think he's, fully aware of the situation that was going on. They gather up Tylee, they bring in Lori, they bring in Alex, and then I think that's it. I don't think anybody else gets brought in and interviewed. But basically the timeline is that Charles gets there to bring JJ to school. I guess Lori and Charles started getting into some argument. Tylee comes out of her room with a bat because she thinks that they're going to be in a physical altercation. Charles takes the bat. From Alex's account, Charles hits Alex with the bat. Alex goes and retrieves his gun. And at some point during all of this, Lori gets out of the house with JJ and Tylee, leaves, takes them to school, and then Alex shoots Charles.
Right.
And then they also find out that Alex shot Charles once after he was already laying on the ground. Because Alex's whole thing was that this was self-defense. Why are you shooting him after he's been on the ground?
To make sure he's dead.
To make sure he's dead, exactly. So this is not self-defense. But the fact of he told the police it was self-defense, they did a little bit of questioning, let him go. They took his self-defense story.
Yeah. They didn't look at the text messages because there were plenty of text messages between Lori and Alex that talked about getting rid of Ned.
Yes.
And if you just went a little further, you'd see that Ned was, the demon in Charles.
Exactly.
That this was 100% planned.
Yeah.
Take into account that he's already reported to the police that she said she was going to kill him. Why would you think that this is not even a little bit suspicious?
Yes.
Enough to, like we have said before, like in Ellen Greenberg's case, you treat it as a homicide until you can prove that it was not.
Yes, exactly. And another thing that bothers me is that at some point, after Lori has left the house and after Alex has shot Charles, Alex calls Lori, and then it wasn't until 43 minutes after him and Lori got off the phone that he called 911.
Right.
And no one is looking at that.
Right.
Like, I just don't fucking understand how this was just over. Like, I don't get it. I don't, like, the police at this department must be a bunch of fucking dumbasses, apparently.
I feel like it's a common theme.
Lori gets a hold of Colby, and she says Charles passed away, which obviously he is so upset about because this was his, not his biological father, but this is who he saw as his dad.
Right.
And he's devastated, and he asks how, and she tells him that he had a heart attack. Why are you saying that?
Right.
So then Colby goes over, and he's with all of them, Lori, Alex, Tyler, JJ, he's with all of them, and then she tells him the truth that he was shot by Alex. And I was just so confused because I'm just like, why would you lie just to tell him the truth when he got there?
Well, and why would you lie at all about something that's going to be publicized?
Exactly.
This is not a secret death.
And then Lori texts Charles' 2 sons, and I was so dumbfounded at this. I'm actually just going to read it verbatim. She said, "Hi, boys. I have very sad news. Your father passed away yesterday. I'm making arrangements, and I'll keep you informed with what's going on. I'm still not sure how to handle things. Just know that I love you, and so did your dad."
First of all,
A text?
texting somebody to tell them that their parent is deceased is fucking disgusting.
Or that anybody in their life,
True.
but especially their father. Like, this is an in-person conversation, and if you can't do it in person, you have to do it over the phone.
Right. I mean, and yes, there are some instances where people are like, that would be fine with me. But this is not a father-son relationship where they're estranged.
Yes,
These are his sons that he's very close to.
exactly.
You do not send, and she didn't even do it on the day that he died. She waited until the next day.
Yeah,
And then she refused to answer any more questions or answer her fucking phone because they were like, you can't just tell us this and then not give us details.
yeah. She literally went MIA for hours. And then eventually she does text them back. And she just was, because they're like, what the fuck happened to our dad? You cannot just text us that and disappear. What's going on? And eventually, after hours, she gets back to them and she says, "I'm sorry you're so upset. I'm upset too. I'm trying to get JJ ready for bed. I'm waiting to hear back from the medical examiner to make sense out of this myself. Please be patient with me. It's a crushing situation all the way around." You conniving little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for the medical examiners? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and what happens when the medical examiners come back, and what are you going to say to his sons then? And then Lori tells JJ's school that Charles committed suicide. So that's 3 different stories, which obviously him being shot is the only true one.
Right.
But
Again, this goes back to someone who's manipulative, not someone who's having a mental illness, crisis. Because this is someone who is purposely telling different stories to confuse the situation
yep,
and telling, different stories for what's convenient at the time to not have to explain.
and then 4 days after Charles's death, she tries to basically cash out on his life insurance policy, which is $1 million. And then come to find out, he changed his beneficiary from her. Obviously, they don't tell her who it is. They're not going
Right.
to. But she's not the beneficiary. She doesn't get his $1 million.
I
So,
know. I love that for her.
boo-hoo, bitch.
And the way, too, because it's recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And when she asks, when the insurance company is asking questions, she's so hesitant to answer the questions.
Yeah. And they were like, "And what's the cause of death?" And she goes, it goes silent. And I'm pretty sure she was about to lie to them.
Right.
I am 99% sure she weighed out, should I lie or tell the truth?
Right. But then she realized they're going to ask for a death certificate, so I'm going to have to be honest.
Yeah. So then she did tell them that he was shot. And yeah, she doesn't get any fucking money from it.
Good.
So right after that, she goes and she texts Chad, her beloved. Or she tells him, and she goes, "I talked to the insurance policy. Apparently he changed it over in March." Which I'm like, thank God that even by then.
Right.
he
Ned
was like-
must have gotten to it.
Yeah, Ned must have done it. And then she still says that she's getting $4,000 a month from Social Security. And I'm like, how the fuck are you still getting $4,000 a month?
Well, because I don't know if he had officially adopted Tylee, but he had officially adopted JJ.
Oh, that is true.
And if a parent of a minor dies, you do get Social Security based on what their income was. It's basically child support for that child, because their parent is deceased. So
Yeah.
that must have been what that was. Or
That
at
makes
least that would be
sense.
my assumption.
Yeah, I mean, that would make complete sense, honestly. Because, yeah, I was just like, how are you still getting $4,000 a fucking month?
Which I don't know what what Charles did for a living, what his business was, but he must have made very good money.
Oh, yeah.
Judging by Chad living in Rexburg, Idaho, and, you know, his very modest home, I'm sure he made some money on his books. It was enough to live their lives, but I definitely don't think it was enough to live the life that Lori was accustomed to.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the main reason that Charles was murdered.
Probably.
Because she thought she was getting that money and could continue to live the lifestyle that she wanted to, but that Chad couldn't afford.
Yeah. And then Lori, after Charles's death, Lori starts claiming that people are after her and she needs to be careful and she's afraid of people catching her. And I'm just like, who? What enemies do you have?
You've already convinced law enforcement that you didn't do anything wrong, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, I think you're all fucking good, girl. And then she decided that she needed to move somewhere cold. And but she would be back. She would come back to Arizona every couple of weeks, which I'm just like, how inconvenient. Arizona is nowhere near a cold place, so she's obviously moving somewhere fucking far.
Right.
When she moved, she took JJ and Tylee, as they were both still minors, and Colby said that he was trying to have a conversation with Tylee, and she just kind of shut him out about it. But she was kind of on and off crying, and she was very shut in, and he was like, I don't know what she knew. I don't know if she knew where they were going or what they were doing. And he was like, I just know that she was messed up from the broken family we had now, from Charles passing away. And it just became so hard for him to communicate with his own sister, which is just so heartbreaking because they were so close growing up. And Tylee seemed to have kind of been acting as if, basically like Lori was, where she was kind of acting as if they were in danger or that she needed to always keep an eye out for something.
Well, and that may have been because her mother was telling her that.
Oh, yeah, I fully believe that
You
it
know?
was. I mean, it's so easy to manipulate your children, especially if you show them that, obviously for her it was fake, but if you show them genuine fear, they're going to be scared too.
Right.
And then after the move, Colby tried to keep in contact with Tylee, and when she would text him back, he started to notice that it was not sounding like her, and like words that she used or punctuation in certain places, and he was like, this is just strange. Like,
It's so funny because I think, because you see this a lot in true crime where people just take somebody's phone and communicate by text because they think that it will prolong anyone knowing that they're missing.
Yeah.
But just like your voice, your text style is so, it is different from person to person.
So Colby starts getting a couple texts from Tylee again, and he's like, I just need to make sure that you're okay. Can you please call me? And then she stops responding again, like completely off the radar. And, you know, he tries to call the number, the phone is off. Tries to call his mom, phone is off. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? And obviously at this point, he kind of has this gut feeling. And his wife, Kelsey, she starts getting concerned because these are his siblings.
Right.
And so she's getting concerned about their well-being, does her own investigating, and eventually they gain access to Charles's old email, and they find this like family list or something of that sort. And
it's basically a list of every person that they know.
yeah. And they all have like these, it's either a D or an L and a number. It's a number and then D or L. And basically it's the scale of if you are a dark or a light spirit. But it's like if you're a bigger number and D, you're even more of a dark spirit.
Right.
And like
the more evil you are, the
Yeah.
higher the number.
And even Kelsey was on there. And she's like, what the fuck am I on the list for? What the fuck did I do? And then they find out this list was curated by Chad Daybell. Because, you know, he can see the dark and light in people.
Right.
And So, yeah, he basically ranked every person in Lori's life as to if they were dark or not. And then they also see that Ty Lee is on the list. And hers is like a 4.1 dark. And I'm pretty sure out of everybody, like, that was still living on the list, I can't remember Charles's exactly, but I think hers was the highest number out of anybody on that list. And a 4.1, you know, I think it was like 1 to 6. So it's farther down on the scale.
Right.
It's scary that she's now going with this man that sees her as a dark spirit. Obviously, none of them know that.
Right. But I have a feeling Ty Lee was on to what was going on, that she had suspicions,
Mhm.
and that was why she was ranked what she was. Because obviously, this is not based in reality.
Yeah,
This was based off from people that were a threat to their relationship.
exactly. We learned that Chad is claiming people as zombies, or as they refer to in their text as Z's, because, you know, code words.
Right.
And he's saying that there's over like 20,000 zombies that need to be eradicated, which means that what? You're going to go and murder 20,000 people together? Is that your plan? Like, I just don't understand.
And isn't it crazy how a predominant amount of the people in Lori's life are zombies?
Yes.
There's only 20,000 of them, yet 20 of them are in Lori's family. That's
20 of them are the people that you know specifically.
right. Like,
Which, of course, you know, Alex is in on this whole zombie plot and everything. And Lori actually says to Alex that their older brother, Adam, had become a zombie as well as of early January.
of course he had, because he didn't fucking believe their bullshit.
Exactly. And so now this is when we finally meet Brandon. And I was confused for a while because his name was kind of getting thrown around here and there. And every time I'm like, who the fuck is Brandon? Because they would never actually talk about him.
Right.
And now we find out that he is in the process of divorcing Lori's niece, Melanie. Not Melanie Gibb. This is Melanie Boudreau. And so he's in the process of divorcing her. And now they are claiming, like, Lori and Chad have both mentioned something about Brandon also being a Z. And so Brandon is coming home one day, and all of a sudden, he gets shot at through one of his car windows as he's pulling into his driveway. And luckily, he doesn't get hit, but he kind of looks around and he sees a Jeep Wrangler driving off. And that's all he gets. The car, that's it. He doesn't know who's in it. Nothing. So calls the police. They come and they help him, and they say he tells them all about the car. It's a gray Jeep Wrangler, whatever. And eventually they find it, and the Jeep is registered to Charles, who at this point, now it's October, he's been dead for fucking months. No reason for first of all, for his car to even be registered to his name anymore, but also for anybody to be driving it around.
Right.
We meet Justin Lum, who he's an investigative reporter, and he actually has been told from another source that basically Lori is using her brother Alex as a hitman. And then
why not? He's allowed to go fucking free every time something shitty happens.
That is true. So then they find out that Alex was the one that was driving the Jeep Wrangler. So we meet Julie Rowe, and this is Chad's former friend, who she is also in LDS, and she claims to have some sort of, I can't remember what she said, but spiritual power.
I know, she's another one with powers.
But I will say she's not a nutcase like Chad and Lori have become. It's not, there's still hope for her, I believe. But, you know,
I don't think she's in danger of murdering anyone, but she's
No.
definitely not normal.
but she, you know, she can call out the fact that, you know, Chad is on the wrong side of all of this, which that's the biggest point of it, is being able to just see that he is doing shit wrong.
Right.
And so she asks Chad about Tammy, and she was like, his eyes just glazed over, and he goes into some sort of trance, and then he starts talking about how he sees Tammy getting in a truck, and then her truck like hits the pole, and he can see her spirit leaving her, but like it was just her spirit leaving her body. Like, that's just so fucking weird.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is his vision, apparently. But then on October 9th, Tammy comes home one day, and there's a man walking up their driveway towards her.
Who just suspiciously probably looks like Alex Cox.
Probably is very Alex Cox shaped. And this guy has a ski mask on, of course, so she can't see his face. And he shoots at her and he misses. And she like went on Facebook and made a post about it, and she actually claimed that he was holding a paintball gun, and I think in her panic she mistook it, because there would be no reason for him to be holding a paintball gun.
Right.
I think he had some sort of rifle, because I mean, throughout this whole thing people talk about Alex owning guns and stuff.
Right.
He shoots at her and misses, and then she like screams out for Chad to come and help her, and the guy takes off running around the back of their house, which she gets inside, writes her little Facebook post, goes on about her day, I guess.
I mean, I guess if you think that it's just a paintball gun, you don't feel the need to call the police.
Yeah.
I still would.
I still would, because why are you in my
Yeah,
why
why
are
are
you
you
on
on
my
my
property
property?
trying to shoot me with anything?
Right.
I don't care if it's a paintball gun, if it's a slingshot, if it's a spitball.
Right.
Chad starts messaging Lori, talking about news about Tammy, and then saying that the short version, apparently there's a long version of this story, which I would love to hear, but short version, Tammy switched, I assume, to a zombie or a demon, that she's in limbo, and that there is a demon entity in her body named Viola.
I love how these are all like very basic names. Like, in my experience, again, I'm not well versed in religion. I stopped going when I was pretty young, but I'm pretty sure most demon names are like of a Latin origin, and they're not easy to pronounce.
Beelzebub.
Yeah, they're not Ned and Viola. Like,
Yeah. You're just giving them random names that you found in the baby book.
Right.
Like, and then when he's texting Lori, he says, "Beautiful Lily," which I'm or maybe it's Lily. It's Lili.
I think it's Lily, and that's like what he calls her.
Which is just so strange, because it's not a nickname. It's the same length as her normal name. I was very confused. I'm like, who the fuck is Lily? Lily. He says, I'm eager to see you soon. Trying to hasten her departure.
Right. Like, that's not suspicious at all.
What are you talking about? Like, that, like, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, holy fucking shit.
One of Chad's things about how he can go to other spiritual planes is he tells Lori that he can go into his closet and meet her in a spiritual plane so they can be together. Like, I just, in my mind, because I'm such a visual person, I see this like overweight middle-aged dude just standing in his closet jerking off. Like, that's what I see.
Honestly,
It's so fucking weird.
that is so strange.
Yeah.
And like, and at that time, he's still married to Tammy. So what? She just watches him just go off into the closet.
Well,
and
I'm
then-
assuming like he's doing it in the middle of the night while she's sleeping, and that's why he's getting out of bed to do it, because doesn't want to shake the bed.
So October 19th, 10 days after this man shows up in their yard, Tammy dies
In her sleep.
in her sleep. She dies a natural death, apparently. Even though she was, at the time she was only like 49, and she was perfectly healthy. And so it just didn't make sense. And of course, being her spouse, he didn't have to allow them to do an autopsy.
Right.
And I don't know. And then, after she's dead, Chad, of course, he has maxed out her life insurance policy. So then once he's able to cash it out, he gets $430,000 off of her death. This is a money scheme.
Scheme?
This is a money scheme, you see?
It is. I mean, that I think the plan was always to kill Tammy as well because she stood in the way. But, I think they had to quicken their plan because there was no money coming from Charles.
They had to make haste.
Right.
So now we get into a really weird part. It was
I love that you're like, this is really weird. Like it hasn't been fucking
like the whole thing hasn't
weird
been
all
fucking
the way up
strange.
to this.
But this is also just super weird to me. So basically we have Chad, who he makes buddy with Alex, and then we have Zulema, who is a part of the LDS community. Chad sets Alex and Zulema up, and he basically tells Zulema, he's like, we're on a mission, and you will not be able to complete this mission unless you are married. You must have a partner to complete the mission. And so he sets them up, and from there, they just decide that they're going to get married, I guess.
Well, because they're also told that if either one of them dies during this mission, if they're not married in this world, they will not be reunited in the next. So they get married really fucking fast.
Yeah. And
they're like virtual strangers.
Yeah, they really don't know each other. And of course, it doesn't say exactly when they met, but they did get married on November 29th, which Tammy only just died on October 19th. So it definitely hasn't been that much time that everybody's been introduced to one another.
Right.
And then we hear about Lori's niece again, Melanie, the one who was divorcing Brandon. She meets this guy named Ian Pulowski, and they meet, and then 2 weeks later, they are also married.
And because Chad tells them the same thing.
And the weird part of it for me was that Ian and Melanie and Alex and Zulema get married within 1 day of each other, and then they're each other's witnesses for their weddings. That is just so, like, obviously this is a cult thing.
Right.
And that just, there's a lot that solidifies it, but this also is such a solidifying factor. Like, just so fucking weird. I will say, Alex took Zulema's last name, which, king shit. I don't know why. I like that he did that. Charles's sister and her husband, Kay and Larry, they are trying to get in contact with JJ because, of course, this is their biological grandson.
Right.
And even after he was adopted by Charles and everything, they still went by, like, grandparent names. Like,
Right.
Larry was his pawpaw.
And they were very close.
And they were very close with him. And so they're trying to get in contact with JJ, and Kay is just unable to reach anybody. She can't reach, she can't reach Tylee. She can't reach Lori. Obviously, she does not even know that they're with Chad. So, no contact there, obviously. And so she contacts the police, and she's like, I don't even know where she is, which I'm sure feels fucking awful.
Right.
Like, I want to do a welfare check, but I don't even know where to start for you to look. Like, that's terrible. She got into Charles's email, which
his email is very easy to get into.
I know.
Apparently.
Kelsey got into it. Kay's getting into it. Everybody's got the
Lori was getting into it. Like
he needed two-factor.
I'm about ready to look up that Gmail account.
I'm gonna go log in right now. But so Kay gets into Charles's email and sees that there is an Amazon order. And obviously at this point, Charles has been dead for a little bit, so he's not ordering anything off Amazon. She looks at the order confirmation, and it is for this, like, ugly-ass green malachite ring.
Yeah, I thought, too, it was ugly, and I was surprised that it was only $45.
I wasn't surprised. I thought it would be cheaper, honestly.
I mean, I didn't, because of the way Lori is. I figured she was going to want something expensive.
True. And off this order, she gets the address. She gets the address to Chad's home in Rexburg, Idaho. And so she calls the police again, and she's like, I have the address now for you to go and check. And so they go, and it's to this like apartment complex. And they go to the apartment that was listed in the order, and Alex and Chad are both there, and they're asking about JJ. And Alex says to the police officer, he goes, well, JJ's with his grandmother Kay in Louisiana. And I literally paused it, and I was like, holy fucking shit. And the police officer goes, well, that's not likely because Kay is the one who made the welfare check call. And he's like, I need to speak to Lori. Where's Lori? And so they say she's over at apartment 107. She's with her niece, Melanie. So they go over there and they start asking her, where is JJ? Where? And I don't think at this time they ask about Ty Lee, because this is just for JJ.
Right.
And they ask about where he is. And she's like, he's with my friend Melanie Gibb in Arizona. And so they're like, okay, can you give us Melanie's information? She does. They try to call Melanie. She doesn't pick up. Come to find out later on, Chad actually told Melanie to not pick up the phone. So that's why she wasn't going to pick up for police. Chad told Melanie, he said, police are going to call you about JJ. Do not answer the phone. So later that night, Lori and Melanie get on the phone, and Melanie's like, why would you tell them JJ was with me? And Lori's like, well, I needed to say somebody so that they didn't know where he actually was.
This is what kills me. You've got two adults saying different things about where this child is. You have someone who's not answering their phone about that he's supposedly with. You have grandparents who haven't heard from him. At what point do you say everyone's coming in for questioning?
Right? Like, I just don't understand where the fucking disconnect was here.
Yeah. This is because I remember, in real time when the news started coming out that kids were missing. And I just remember being so dumbfounded about how fucking long the police let it go on. To this day, I don't understand. And why no one at that apartment, the police officer, when they showed up at that apartment building, was like, all right, everyone's coming in until someone answers phones or produces children.
Yep.
That's what's happening.
Exactly.
Because you don't have to arrest people to have them come in for questioning. And you can't arrest them without a crime, but you can still make them come in under suspicions.
Yes.
And they just were like, okay, we'll keep trying.
And honestly, I don't think that it would have been totally out of the question to say that there was a crime happening, that there was potential child endangerment.
Right.
Because where the fuck are these kids?
Right.
Obviously, they could not be safe. Obviously, they weren't. But it's just, I just don't understand how this just fucking went on for so long. Another weird thing that when the police were questioning Lori was that she also, because they were like, yeah, we just went and talked to this guy. And she was like, oh, my brother. And he was like, yeah, one of your brothers and some other guy. And she goes, oh, my brother's friend. She's talking about Chad.
Mm-hmm.
You're referring to Chad as your brother's friend? That's fucking weird. That's strange. And no one ever touches on that again. But that is so incredibly weird because that is such a telltale. I don't know what of, but it is odd.
That someone's not who.
Yeah, I mean, she's fucking lying.
That you're hiding something.
Yes.
Well, first of all, anytime someone's having an affair, they always introduce them as their friend.
Yes.
When they get caught.
So then the next day after they went and questioned about JJ and there was no actual answer, on November 27th, they go and they get a search warrant, a complete search warrant for the house. They get in there and it's completely empty. There's no furniture. There's no personal belongings. There's no people. There's like no sign of anyone being there. So everyone has now fucking disappeared. With everybody disappearing, the police end up going over to Colby and Kelsey's house. And they're asking Colby, have you heard anything? Have you seen anything? And he's like, no, I haven't been able to contact my siblings in months since they moved away. Like, I don't know. And he tried to call both of Tylee and his mom again. And again, their phones are off because they don't want to be contacted. Well, not Tylee, but
Right.
Lori has turned off her phone. And from there, Colby starts getting harassed by news outlets for his story. And it's like, I just feel so bad when shit like this happens to people because it's not just a story.
Right.
He's living this. He's living in this right now.
Right. His siblings are missing. His mom is clearly off her rocker.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's got suspicions of where his siblings actually are, including himself.
Exactly.
And they're hounding him. And I always feel bad for the family that gets caught in the crosshairs of media when they're at their absolute most desperate, looking for answers, hoping against hope that the people that are missing are going to show up. But you've got people shoving cameras and microphones into your face.
Exactly. He started making these videos on YouTube, and I would say he was kind of using it almost as like it was a call out to his mom and to his siblings, but I think in a way that it was also some sort of like it was therapeutic to him in a diary in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was getting on YouTube and he was saying, Mom, if you see this, or Tylee, if you see this, he was just hoping that someone would see it and they would change the fate of what it was going to be.
Right.
And I felt bad about this too, because then people are like, oh, you're seeking attention and da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, he's trying to find his fucking family.
Right. And I mean, some people were even saying he had something to do with it. And I'm like, this kid, first of all, is basically estranged from his mom at this point in his life. And he's looking for answers just like everyone else is. What do you mean he had something to do with it?
Yeah, like the last time he saw them was they were going with that woman. How on fucking earth did he have any connection to their deaths? Like, people are so ignorant. So on December 11th, Fremont County actually exhumes Tammy Daybell's body.
But they don't say in the documentary what they find because they've sealed it for the court hearing because they know where this is going.
Yeah.
So it actually is not anything that's shared with the media. I had to look it up later, and the cause of death ended up being asphyxiation. They think a pillow was held over her face.
We're hearing an audio tape from Zulema. We never see her directly being interviewed, but we hear a lot of audio tapes from her of like when all this was happening. She recalls Alex talking about, Tammy being a zombie, which is the same thing she heard about Charles from Alex and Lori. And
Zulema's like, look, I've bought into some of this, but I'm not buying into all
she's
this
like,
shit.
Wait a minute. And so she starts to get worried that, because, obviously she knows Alex shot Charles. And so she's getting worried that Alex had something to do with Tammy.
Right.
And she is asking him, they're having a conversation about it and whatever. And then eventually Alex just says that he is pretty sure that Lori and Chad are using him as their fall guy. And Zulema's like, what are they trying to pin on you? As what?
Right.
And then the next day, he's fucking dead.
Which they say is natural causes. And I guess he did have some health issues.
Yeah.
It's too fucking weird that it was natural causes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if that's what the coroner is saying, then I believe it. But what are the fucking chances?
I know. Because, yeah, I mean, Janice, their mother, she gets on there and she says that this is something that runs in their family. But, yeah, I mean, the day after her body is being exhumed, he dies.
Right.
That is just it's odd to me. It's so
I
fucking
mean, I guess
strange.
because it is a heart condition. I mean, I wonder if the worry from knowing what he had done on top of the whole thing with Tammy, if he knew his life was going to come crashing down and like he worried himself into a death. I don't know.
At some point, I guess that Summer, who is the youngest child of the Cox family, Lori's younger sister, Summer sees on TV, and again, I just don't know the details about it, but I guess on TV she sees that Chad and Lori are married. Again, don't know how, don't know where.
I think somebody in the news had just done the right sort of digging. And found out that they had gotten married in a private ceremony in Hawaii.
And they got married on November 5th, which was only 17 days after Tammy's death and only 13 days after her memorial. Now we start to get some sort of a timeline about, a pinpoint of how things are starting to go. So on December 20th, Kylie and JJ are officially declared missing. And this was after Lori and Chad obviously also disappeared. On January 3rd, Chad Daybell's former home in Rexburg, Idaho, was searched, and I believe they said they found around 43 different items that they seized from the home, which included journals, it included electronic devices, a bunch of stuff that they were able to investigate. On January 26th, we then see a video from a bystander of Lori and Chad walking through the lobby of a hotel in Hawaii. And they are fucking skedaddling. They are getting up out of there.
The other thing that I find weird is where are Chad's kids?
I know.
I mean, we know they're not dead because that would have, been an even bigger story than it ended up being. But
yeah,
where the fuck are they? Like he just took off to Hawaii with Lori, and
their mother is dead.
Their mother is dead. So what did he just? Did he have one kid who happened to be a little bit older and he abandoned them? Were they all older kids? Because they were married for like 30 years. So
yeah, and to be honest, like it showed a picture of them. I'm pretty sure the picture blurred out all of the kids' faces. They looked as if they could have been a bit older.
Okay.
But I don't think all of them were adults. I think that from the looks of it, one or two of them was like a teenager.
I just think it's weird that through this whole documentary, they never even touch on his kids because they also were impacted by all of this.
And we never hear about Charles's kids again.
No, other than, Lori texting them and basically being like, sorry, your dad's dead.
Yeah. So on January 27th, after they got caught on recording, they actually were stopped by the police.
But see what I'm talking about how fucking long they let this go on. We're January 27th now.
They've been gone since like September.
And they visited it was November though that Kay did the welfare check. This whole fucking time.
Like why are we 2 months after a welfare check and now just getting to them?
Right. I don't understand. And I know they were on the run, but reporters were finding them. If reporters can, surely the fucking police can.
Yeah. So on January 27th, they get pulled over and the police give her a search warrant for her vehicle so they can no longer use the vehicle. They're headed off on foot. And there's this reporter that's basically like chasing them as they're walking. And he's asking questions. Where is Tylee? Where is JJ? Where are your children? Why won't you talk about them? And he's like, there are so many people around the world who are praying for the return of your kids. And she goes, that's great.
And she was smiling.
Yes. Like, you are a fucking sicko.
Mm-hmm.
Along with this paperwork, she is also told by the police and the court that she has to produce her children by Thursday, or else she will be arrested.
But again, why are we giving her this time?
I know.
Arrest her. Because at this point, it's definitely child abandonment. And then be like, until you tell us where they are, you're going to sit here, bitch. Like, I don't understand. She's already taken off once.
She could have taken off again. Somehow she didn't. that Thursday they did arrest her. But, I mean, you're so right. Why are we giving her more time?
And that's probably why she didn't try and run again, was because she's like, oh, they really don't give a shit. Nothing's going to happen at this point because nothing's fucking happened so far. So I'm just going to stay put.
So on January 30th, that following Thursday, she gets arrested. Thank fucking God, finally. And so they fly her back to Idaho because that's her, you know, her real current residence. They fly her back so that she can face her charges. Somewhere along this, Justin Lum, the investigative reporter, he also gets an email, which is a folder containing 666 photos of Lori and Chad together. And in one of the photos, it's actually Chad and Lori like holding hands, and that ring that she had ordered off of Amazon under Charles's name, she is wearing it in the picture.
In their wedding picture.
In their wedding picture. She is literally wearing that exact green malachite ring with like these little fucking triangles.
And if I'm remembering correctly, the ring was ordered before Tammy even died.
They ordered it on October 7th. She didn't die until the 19th. So this was all planned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we knew it was.
Right.
But that just solidifies that this was all fucking planned. And through all 666 of these photos, there is not a single photo of Tylee or JJ. Of course not.
Right.
And this is where I feel bad again because, you know, now after her arrest and she has not produced either of the kids, Colby starts having these nightmares. He's having nightmares about Tylee. He's having nightmares about JJ, about Charles. Like, I just feel so fucking awful for him this entire time. Multiple times when Colby was talking, I was crying because I'm like, I literally could not ever in a million years imagine something like this happening to anybody. And it did. And it is so unfortunate. While Lori is in the women's correction facility, Colby actually gives her a call, and
I felt so bad for Colby.
I know, because she is just such a horrible fucking person, even the way that she talks to him. Because he's talking this whole time, and then all of a sudden she goes, "What is it that you think I did?"
Well, and what I feel bad for him is he called her for answers. And not only did she refuse to give answers, she played a mind game with him.
Mm-hmm.
The whole conversation was a manipulation, and, you know, well, someday you'll understand, and it's not what you think it is. And I just felt so bad for him because it's like, this is your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she's treating this like some sort of cat and mouse game.
Exactly. At some point, she brings up Abraham Isaac, which the story of Abraham Isaac is that he is going to sacrifice his son, and he's got a blade. And as he's ready to basically plunge it into the neck of his son, God pulls him back and says, "No, don't actually do it. This was just a test of faith." And Colby's like, "Why the fuck are you talking to me about that?"
Right.
Which we know exactly why she's talking to him about that. She,
and I'm sure Colby did too, but he wasn't ready to admit it yet.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's like, "Why are you fucking talking to me about that shit?" And the conversation kind of just trails off, and, you know, we don't get to know much of the rest of it. I'm sure it was probably a pretty long and emotional talk they had, so I don't blame them for not showing the whole thing. So then we see Summer and Janice, which are Lori's sister and mother, on fucking TV defending Lori. And the interviewer is like, "Do you think she's in a cult? Do you think she hurt her kids? This and that." And they're just defending her. "No, she would never hurt her kids. Oh, you know, she's too hard-headed for Chad to manipulate her." Which, you know, I believe that. But she doesn't need to be manipulated because they are the same fucking level of crazy. And they're on national TV defending her.
Well, and the thing is again, this goes back to, I think, you know, people that really watch and read and listen to a lot of true crime. I think the difference between us and people that aren't into that is we know you can never 100% know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even as your mom, there are things you don't know about me. As my kid, there are things I don't know about you. And there are people all the time that no one would ever suspect of hurting someone else, and they do.
Yes. Exactly.
You know, people kill their spouses. And I'm sure a lot of the times, you know, the spouse doesn't see it coming. There are a lot of cases where the spouse had zero reason to believe that they were in danger.
Well, and it's also like when you see someone who, you know, they get out of some sort of like, we'll say a physically abusive relationship, for example, and then they tell people what happened. And if someone knows the other person, they're like, well, they just don't seem like that. Well,
Right.
they
Or
are.
they've never acted like that in front of me.
It's like, okay, well,
okay, well, you don't live behind closed doors with
yeah,
them.
it's like that doesn't change what they did to me.
Right.
Like, I hate that shit when people do that.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, I've seen it on social media where people have talked about, you know, the emotions of an abusive man, that, well, he lost control. No, he didn't, because he's never done that in front of another man.
Mm-hmm.
He's never done that in front of a police officer.
Yep.
He's never done it in public where other people can see it.
Yep.
And, you know, and not to say that women can't be abusive, because they can. It's just talking about how women are more emotional, and it kind of, that's what the whole thing, the post in its entirety is about.
Yeah.
You know, and how we can't be controlled sometimes because of our emotions. But anyway, like, it goes to show that, you know, again, you never 100% know anybody, and you definitely don't know what's happening behind closed doors.
Exactly.
On both ends. I've had people that have made little quips about, you know, if you have to post how great your relationship is all the time, then it's not. And I'm like, so sorry that I put it out there that I want other people to have the relationship that I do. Like,
yeah.
What I put out there, so that you know that what you're putting up with doesn't have to be your life.
No, exactly.
Not because I need to show off, or because I am putting up smoke and mirrors for attention. It's because I want you to see how life could be if you fucking drop that dead weight.
So now this is actually when investigators are able to get into Lori's iCloud, and they find the last known picture of Tylee. It's Tylee. She's holding JJ, and then Alex is in the photo with them as well. And presumably Lori is the one taking the photo. And they're at Yellowstone National Park. And this was on September 8th. So it's like, I'm pretty sure right around that time that they were moving to the somewhere cold. And then they get Alex's phone records, and they see that on September 9th that Alex is at the Daybell property, and he's in the Daybell backyard for 2.5 hours. They show a whole diagram of the way that Chad's house is set up and everything, which I'm going to put up now. And so, yeah, so he's in the back area for 2.5 hours. What are you doing back there, buddy?
Right.
Why are you... And this is before Tammy's dead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So how does she not realize that he's hanging out in her backyard for 2.5 hours?
And also, like, is this the time... Like, it's... I hate how jumbled up everything is.
I know. I like documentaries with very clear timelines.
Yes.
And I feel like this one, that was one of the things I didn't like about this. There was a lot of jumping around and ambiguous, like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it's like, but when? Tell me when.
Yeah, like, I need to know when. So because this is such a blurry timeline, I'm like, I want to assume that he must have been back there, like, digging a grave or something.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But then also, but after he leaves, it's like 14 minutes after he leaves, Chad texts Tammy, and he says to her, I'm going to read it, "I have had an interesting morning." And this is about 11 in the morning, somewhere
so
around
she
there.
must be at work,
Must be, yeah.
and that may also be why it only took 2.5 hours to do what they did, because they were doing it together.
Yeah. He said, "I felt I should burn all the limb debris," I assume tree limbs, "by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking the wall. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. So on June 9th, the police return. They have a complete search warrant of the entire property. And we actually hear a tape recording of Chad calling Lori while she's in the jail. And he's telling her that he's like super like sad. You can tell in his voice. And he is telling her that they're searching the property. And so clearly he's not far away. He's watching them do it.
Right.
And eventually they see like an SUV kind of taking off the other way. And they figure out it's Chad. He's trying to escape the scene. They catch up to him. They arrest him. And they find the human remains of what they believe are Tylee and JJ. Later to be confirmed that it was their remains. And they were put into a shallow kind of grave.
Mm-hmm.
When they did the autopsy report, JJ was actually found with a plastic bag over his head, and it was sealed shut around his neck with duct tape. So he had died from asphyxia. And with Tylee's remains, she had, before she was buried, she was burned so severely that they could determine that obviously it was a homicide. They couldn't determine how.
And she was dismembered.
And she was dismembered. Yeah, they completely dismembered her body.
Which I doubt that Lori got her hands dirty because that's not really her style. But
Yeah.
Alex did. Alex definitely was there. And how can you do that to your niece? Like, how do you do it to anyone, but especially someone that you have been around their whole life?
Probably there for her birth.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
And you do it in the name of some religion. And you think that you're on the right side of the light.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, you think this is what's going to make you a good person.
Right. Killing children.
Yeah.
Okay.
We hear another phone call between Colby and Lori. And he's just trying to get answers from her because now he knows. And at some point, he says that he misses them. He misses his family. And she's like, I know, baby. I do too. And he's like, how can you say that? And then
She's so punchable.
I know. She goes, how can I not? They're my babies that you fucking murdered.
Right.
Maybe you didn't do it yourself, but you had them killed.
Right.
You had them buried. And then you went on and tried to live your fancy little fucking life.
Right. You ran off to Hawaii to go live with your weird ass fucking husband, boyfriend turned husband. You knew that all of this was going to happen. You helped plan it. The good thing is they, wanted to make sure she was competent to stand trial.
Mm-hmm.
And she was found competent.
Yeah. At first, her lawyers tried to like weasel her out of it. And so they gave her 90 days in a facility and then they found her competent.
Right. Which I'm thankful for, which again goes back to what we were saying earlier, that she's not crazy. She's manipulative and just a fucking liar.
Yeah. So a few things that were during Chad's preliminary hearing was that Melanie Gibb actually took the stand and she played the entire phone conversation of the night that she was asking Lori, like, why would you tell the police he was with me? She plays the whole recording. And this is when she admits to the court that Chad called her or texted her, I can't remember what she said, but told her to not answer the phone for the police, to not answer. And we also hear that Lori starts accusing her of some wild shit. Lori was basically saying to her, like, this doesn't sound like you. This sounds like a dark version of you. And so clearly she's going on the dark list.
Right. Anytime that somebody does something Lori doesn't like, they're dark.
Yeah. And then she's like, this sounds like you're talking through all the people that are against me. And Melanie's like, I'm not talking with people that are against you. I'm telling you how I feel. And then Lori's like, thanks for telling me that. I love you. Love you so much. And I'm like, I hate you so bad, bitch. On August 21st, Chad Daybell decided he was going to plead not guilty to all the charges that were being pressed against him. So,
Of course he did, because he's a pussy.
Yeah. And So that went on to a further trial. So Lori and Chad were both indicted. Lori and Chad both for the deaths of Tylee and JJ. Chad was the only one responsible for the death of Tammy, which I still feel like they should try and put that on Lori too, because I mean they were
She
conspiring.
conspired.
Yeah, they were conspiring all of these people's deaths.
Right.
So then I found on thepeople.com, I did a little bit of research. Thepeople.com said that in May 2023, Lori was convicted of killing Tylee and JJ and conspiring to kill Tammy, thank God. And then she received 3 consecutive life sentences from the state of Idaho. In April of 2023, Arizona found her guilty to conspiring to kill Charles, and then less than 2 months later, they found her guilty of conspiring to kill Brandon, her niece's ex-husband. And in July of 2025, Arizona decided that they were also going to add 2 more consecutive life sentences with the 3 that Idaho already gave her.
Good. So she should never see the outside of a prison again.
Yes. For some reason, in December of 2024, she actually requested to represent herself. And I watched the entire video. It was like a 20-minute video of her and the judge going back and forth about this. Eventually, he did allow her to do it. But I'm just like, why? I mean, there was a lot in that video that I probably should have written down. But it was, yeah, I was just so interested in the fact that she's like, I studied this and I did this and I did that. And the judge is like, do you know that these people have been doing this for approximately 15 to 30 years?
I feel like people that try to represent themselves that aren't doing it because they don't have another option, like, you know, they can't afford a good lawyer and the one that they have is an idiot. I feel like other than that, the people that do it because they think they're the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Ted Bundy did it.
Yeah.
He fired his lawyer and represented himself. That worked out great for him.
Yeah, we see where that got him. And also from the people, they had also mentioned that Chad in June of 2024 was sentenced to death for the murder, for triple murder of Tammy, Tylee, and JJ.
That's what kills me, though, is in these crimes where a man and a woman both commit them, why is she not also getting the death penalty?
That's what I'm saying.
Is it because she's a woman? Because I really think it is. Because you see it over and over again where the men get harsher sentences than the woman, where I feel like she actually deserves a harsher sentence because those were her fucking children that she conspired to have murdered.
So that was The Sins of Our Mother on Netflix. And we thank all of you so much for coming by and watching and doing all the little things you do, the liking, comments, and shares. And we will see you next time. Bye.